Hello and welcome to the OverShadow ShadowCast with your host Thomas Anderson and Tech Wizard Abigail Mewette. Mowit.
Moet.
She likes
Why
to
is
mow
it
it, mow
so?
it.
Why you've known me for 5 years? How is it still so difficult for you to say my surname?
Mowit.
Moet.
Mowit.
It has been. Has it been 5 years? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Feels a lot longer.
Yes. Yes.
A lot longer.
The word purgatory springs to mind.
Well, technically, we could have met in secondary school. There's a good chance we did meet in secondary school, but we don't remember it.
No, I'm blaming you.
What? How? Can I just say, right? Can I just say, I stuck out more than probably you did.
Nope.
How?
You might have stuck out wider, but I definitely stuck out like a sore thumb.
I'm very hurt by that comment.
Was saying that you used to be fat.
Still am fat.
Okay, well, you used to be fatter.
Yes, but I thought maybe I was talking about my insecure, introverted, non-verbal
Yeah,
personality.
That sticks out if you just walk past each
Yeah.
other in the corridor,
Yeah.
doesn't it? Compared with me screaming my head off and making jokes.
I used to work in the library. You must have met me at some point. Did you ever go into the library?
Sorry, our school had a library?
Yes.
I don't remember that.
I honestly can't tell if you're lying. I think you are. I think you did remember we had a library.
No, don't remember that.
I really can't tell if you are joking or not.
Was that the room full of books?
Oh my...
In the on the top floor, above maths.
I honestly can't tell if you're taking...
The room full of books on the top floor.
There
above maths.
There was no room full of books on the top floor above
All
maths.
those rooms had books in them.
Those were all English classes.
Well, that makes sense.
The library was downstairs next to computing.
That doesn't make any sense. Why would you need a library for computing instead of English?
I really can't tell if you're making fun of me. Are you making fun of me?
That doesn't make sense.
I'm
Why would you
so
put the library
insecure.
across from
I don't know what's happening.
Why would you put the library across from computing and not across from English?
Are you joking? I don't know.
That doesn't make sense.
You had the computing labs, and then you had the quad, and it was in between the quad and the computing labs. You really don't remember the library?
There was nothing in between the computing labs and the quad. The quad was the gap in the middle of the main square.
The library was situated...
So there's nothing in between them.
Yes, there was. There was a corridor. Right, you know where the PE department was? Right?
Yeah.
You had like the Was it S1 and S2 toilets there? Or the S3, S4? S1, S2 toilets were there.
I honestly don't think that they were age defined.
Yes, they were. No, they were.
In that case, I took some inappropriate peas.
No, that was the whole thing. That was the whole thing. Because they sectioned the toilets between S1, S2, then S3, then S4, then S5, and S6. S5, S6 toilets were on the second floor.
During the break, but I don't think they did it during
No,
classes.
they did. They did. Because I got stopped before during class time because I just wanted to nip across to the toilets, which was like for an older class. I was told, no, you can't use those. And I saw many other people also get told off as well. But anyway, the library, so like the corridor, they were right opposite the do you remember the computing rooms, the computing labs? How do you not remember the library?
I remember
there was a
PE
corridor
classrooms.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything else.
Well, there was like 2 double doors that you had to go through to get to PE. And if you come out those doors, you go down left, there was a long corridor. The computing room was on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side was the library, which was full of books, and also computers. And it was like a desk that was like a round desk next to the office in the library. And the library looked out onto the quad.
Fireblight? Fireboilt.
What are you trying to say?
Fireboy? Firebot?
Am I
Fire
what?
Box? Firebird?
What are you trying?
Flame
What are you trying to
boy.
say?
Anyway, I think we should just move on.
No,
'Cause
no. How do you not remember the library?
Was that the... Oh, wait a minute. Wait. Was that the building in the middle of the quad that's jutted out?
I can't remember if there was a building jutted out, but it was
Yeah,
next to the
there was a
quad.
building that jutted out that had 4 classrooms. It was shaped like a rhombus.
No, that was a music room. That was the music department.
Right, there was no library.
There was a library. Did I just fall into a void? Then at break times.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
god! I'm gonna have to look up.
delusion.
I'm gonna have to actually look up plans for the school.
That's fine. Let's not do that just now. Let's just actually record this, please. You can plan your invasion of the local schools later.
I have to look this up. Library. I don't know how to spell library.
Lieberry. Because the library is a lie.
Facilities.
Fire. Bolt. Bolt. Boy. Bolt. Bolt boy. Boilt.
What
Fire
are you trying to say?
Fire bloit.
What is going on?
Fire bloit.
What are you trying to say?
Kid fire.
What are you trying
Boy
to
fire.
What
Fire boy.
what is this fireboy? What are you talking about? I'm trying to find an image of it. And it's not
we
coming.
just-
You keep
can
talking. You talk and I'm going to look this up.
That's kind of not the point of a conversation.
Well, I'll talk while I look up. How about that? I'll talk
You're not
while I do
capable
this.
of that. I think we both know that.
I am insulted that you believe.
You're insulted.
I am that's Broxburn. I don't know why that picture came up. I am insulted by that accusation.
Okay, then let's move on quickly. How's your week been, and what have you been playing?
I have
GTA
been-
again.
Yes, I have been playing GTA again, and I'll tell you why I've been playing GTA again. Because I've not had time to do anything else.
Well, you were actually offered a game of Halo, and you refused.
I did not offer a game of Halo.
No, I offered you a game of Halo, and you refused.
Well,
and you chose
because I
GTA.
was already in GTA.
I think you have addiction issues. You need
First
to
of
play
all, I
more
thought
video
first
games.
of all, I thought I heard addiction, but I heard diction as well.
You do
so
have
I thought
addiction issues.
I thought you were having a go at my diction.
Ability to spec.
Yeah, my ability to spook.
I think you have addiction issues, and I think you need to play more video games.
I think I have an issue where I'm trying to find like a layout of the academy and I can't. I'm very
I told you
upset.
you couldn't do 2 things at once.
I
told you.
can do 2 things at once. You keep talking. So yeah, I was playing GTA Online.
How can I keep talking about what you've been playing? That doesn't make sense.
You don't make sense. I don't know what's happening anymore.
Right.
I'm
Come on
just
now.
trying to find a picture of the library. That's all I want to do.
The library. It's alive.
It's not a lie.
Right.
It was opposite the lunch hall.
Look, the people who listen went to that school too, and I'm sure they can.
If anybody
can
actually
privately
remembers the
contact
library,
us and let
can
us
you
know.
please tell Tommy where it was? And also, if you remember me, tell him that as well. I was
can you-
there. I was always there because I was bullied and I didn't want to be bullied, so I went there.
Can anybody? I didn't know any of the dorks that went to the library.
We were the library helpers. I have a card. with my
There
name
was
on it.
no
I think I chucked it out.
library.
There was a library. There still is a library.
You don't have a card. You've just got a piece of paper that somebody's just scrawled like turnips
Just
on.
my
It's like,
own personal
yeah, you made it
handwriting.
yourself. You stole a laminating machine to have it
I did,
laminated.
yeah.
Yeah, the people who listen, just send us a wee private message and let Abigail know the library is a lie.
No,
It's
tell
a thing.
Tommy it wasn't a lie. Tell Tommy where it was. Tell Tommy why doesn't he remember it was opposite the computing lab. When I was there, that's what it was. And also
Wait,
it was
what?
next to the quad.
Hold on. No, that's underneath science, and it was computing that was underneath science. Anyway, it's not me talking, it's you, but you can't do it without changing back to the library. So can we please?
Where was
What have you been playing? What have you been doing? What have you been?
Science was above it, but science was also above the library.
Goodness sake!
On the left
Can
hand
you-
side. I've been playing GTA Online. It's been great. I'm still. I changed my character.
You did.
I changed
the one
my
thing you
character.
didn't really change that much was the face, which is a shame because it's the face.
I did change it. I did
Have you
change
noticed how
it.
all the faces all look like the person is inherently a little
Can
bit
I
angry?
just say something incredibly important? I
Is this
actually
about
was
the
really
library?
insulted. No, I was actually insulted because I thought I made my character look like me.
No, you haven't.
Well, I thought it did, and I got very upset at the way you talked to me.
Now, Tommy, you must let Abigail speak her truth. Right.
No, because I genuinely thought I made it look a lot like me, and I was super happy. And then you said, "Oh God, I hate all the characters. They don't look like real people. Like this look terrible." I'm like, "Oh,
Right, okay, this is what I'm going to say, and it's what I said at the time. You have done stop a second. You've done a very... Oi, we just... You've created a version of the character that looks a bit like you, just like I've done a version of the character that looks a bit like me, but it's the same character.
I am sorry. Your character looks nothing like you."
But that's my point. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The characters are all the exact same person. It's just a couple of changes. So yours is in a female body with longer hair, but it's the same scowling face.
No, it's
My character
different.
has a ginger goatee. My brother's has I think it's a brown mustache. It's all nonsense. It's all one character that's got slight variations. There might be a second character. I think there might be. Obviously, this is if you're white. There'll be different characters for if you're not. But there'll be an Asianish character. There'll be a black character. There'll be that sort of thing. But it's a condemnation for me of the fact that there's very little actual customization in the character's face. You can't change their height either. All the characters seem to be the same size. Do you remember Star Trek Online when we were making our characters years ago? You actually had a lot of variation.
Not really.
As in, you disagree or you can't remember?
I can't remember.
You had a lot of variation in those characters because you've made one that looks a bit like you, and I've made one that looks a bit like me. Whereas this is one GTA Online character, and then you just manipulate it a bit. Genuinely, when you see me, have you looked at me and Mind Bloodder standing next to each other in that game?
No.
We look like twins.
You two could not look more different if you tried in real life. You don't look the same. In my opinion, you look very different.
Thanks. So I take it I'm the ugly one then. Thanks very much.
You said it, not me. You're gonna be mean to me. I'm gonna be mean to you.
Right then, Fatty.
I am outraged. I am hurt. I am insulted. My friend of 5 years calling me fatty.
My friend of 5 years calling me ugly.
I didn't say either one of you were ugly. I just said you look different.
Oh yeah, sure. But the the characters all look very the same. It's very much. It's because they originally did the characters where you picked your grandparents, and then that created your parents, and then that created your character. And if you picked John Marsden, who was the character from Red Dead Online, sorry, Red Dead Redemption 1, everybody's character looked the same. I have seen one alternate male character who doesn't look like the Marston model, who's white.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it. And I've only ever seen one type of white female. The other one I've seen is a bit more of an Asian female. It's very limited. And every single character has this sort of perma skill.
Right.
If I'm like sort of like this.
Yeah.
It's like a slight perma skill, like they're either slightly confused or they're preparing to have to punch you in the face with a brick. And that I don't really like it very much. Now I know the game was released in 2013, I think, but it does create a sort of
Yeah. I can't hear you anymore.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you now.
It does create a bit of a problem. The game was created in 2013. It does create a bit of a problem that there's so limited customization in the character's face, because you do feel a bit like this is my character, but there's no way to make it like you. Or if you went in thinking, oh, I want a character that looks like this, and then you start using the creator, there's no way you can create the character you want. Honestly, I would say your best bet for a happy character is to go in with no expectation and just see what it'll give you, and then pick your favorite.
Well, if you
That's really
choose
the only way to
if
do
you
it.
choose certain parents in GTA Online, some of them have got more scowly faces than the others.
Yeah, but there is a sort of perma skill across all the characters.
A little bit, yeah. I've still not been able to find.
Yeah, let's just move on. I'm not surprised that they don't make it easy to find layouts of the local school.
I didn't actually think of that actually.
So,
I'm
what
gonna
have
have
you
to
been
find
doing?
pictures.
What have you been doing in GTA?
My computer screen just moved and I didn't touch it.
It's angry at you for
It's
focusing on
still
the
moving. I
library.
don't like it. It's scrolling and it's scaring me. Yeah. Well, like I said, I've just been just mucking about. Really, we've just been doing extra missions, you and me.
Yeah.
I joined the casino.
Yes, you did.
And I had to leave.
Why?
Gambling addiction kind of started to take a hold. I was like, I need to leave.
I thought that might happen.
I am that kind of person that I have to kind of drag myself away from like betting things and stuff like that. Especially, like fairgrounds and things like the marches.
Yes.
They have like the gambling section kind of bit where you put like the pennies in. Yeah, that
The slot machine sort of thing.
not a slot machine, like the penny pusher.
Aye, but it is a slotish machine. You slot your money in and then it does somewhere.
Yeah, I have to basically take a limited amount of funds with me.
Aye.
Because otherwise I will just spend. It's fun though. If you
That was
save
good.
up for it, it's fun.
That was what I did.
That's not
That
happening
was-
this year.
Obviously, that was what I said when I logged in and you said I'm in the casino, and I went, oh no. Like she said, oh, it's easy. They give you a set amount of money when you become a member, and you just use that.
They give you
become a member of what?
5,000.
Who becomes a member? Who becomes a member?
Or
I did.
500.
Who becomes a member? I did. You or your character? Oh, my character. Oh, thank God.
I was actually really scared because I was like, oh my god, is this real money? Like, is it my actual money? It's not. It's just in-game currency, which is fine.
Yeah, but you can then use real money to buy in-game currency.
Yeah, I
That's
wouldn't do
the-
that. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. Some people have problems, but they cut off there. It would affect your game experience, but it wouldn't affect your wider life,
Yeah.
but it's still not great.
Next year we
Oh,
shall
yeah.
go and see the people's
What?
the fairground rides. You and me will go next year.
I don't like people.
Well, I will go then, and I will FaceTime you, and it'll be like you're there.
Just take a balloon with my face on it.
I'll do that thing.
I'm here with my friend.
No, like I'll get you like one of those little robot things like they had in The Big Bang Theory, like Sheldon
Oh,
has.
right.
And I'll just have you
Yeah.
going around with me. Go on the waltzer or the twister, whatever it's called.
Put me inside sealed R2D2.
Oh no, I'll put you in a BB-8. BB-8's cute.
No, because as soon as it rolled, my head would be ripped off.
I can't make the noise. No, BB-8 makes a kind of noise.
Aye, like a kitten. Yeah, just like a kitten.
Meow.
I like R2D2 when he screams. Like, what? Wait, why is this droid screaming at me? And then he goes, wee!
So
through the air, usually on fire.
So we've chatted about what I have been playing.
Oh no, I want to talk a little bit more about that. There was one mission that we did where we had to take out a group of baddie guys.
That is every mission.
It was a specific set though. We had to drive around. It was new. Neither of us had done it before. We had to drive around sets of gangs and take them out. And
is this the one where you went away?
Yes. You've become addicted basically to taking all the money from corpses, even though it's like 14 quid.
14 quid is still 14 quid.
And what you did was you got out of the car on a bridge on like a road or a dual carriageway or something like that, and you got out and you ran across and you went. I'd hit a car and killed the driver. Out of boredom probably. And you just went, all right, okay, and you ran over and you pulled him out of the car and you got, oh, money, and you turned around and I had driven off. Because I was like, what are you doing? Like, no, I'm away. And I got to the area and posted up and just kept an eye on it and said, right, where are you? When you said, where are you? I'll come back and get me. No, you just took a car, so drive the car. Right, okay. And you were laughing the whole way back. And I was like, okay, shit, she's doing something funny. And you came across the crest of the hill and you were in like an
RV.
Yeah, you were in a... It was like, have you ever seen Spaceballs?
Yeah.
It was the Winnebago from Spaceballs. And you couldn't stop it because the brakes were rubbish. And then when we killed that guy and had to drive off, you stole my car and I got left with a Winnebago. So I had to follow you in this rubbishy Winnebago.
I did though. I did come back for you. I was like, no,
you
come
did.
on.
You stopped and swapped, and I drove. But then we got to the because I'm a bit of a better driver, and I enjoy the driving a bit more. And you've got max driving skill already.
You left
so
me at one point. You left the game. And then I had to run around, and there were many points that I did very, very well, and you weren't there to witness it. Like evading many police officers.
Oh, I had to go, and yes. And then it bugged on us, which was interesting.
Yeah.
I came back and joined in that mission, and it bugged on us. It didn't tag us as having
I was so upset. I was actually so upset, because I was so hoping I would have been able to complete that mission by myself, but I ended up being shot. But when you came back, I was like, oh, where are you? Because I didn't want you to get kicked from the game. That was my big worry in case it kicked you. So eventually what I had to do was I just had to kind of keep going at it, and luckily I think because it kept blowing, like we both kept dying because your character was just stood still, it kind of refreshed it so it didn't kick you. Unless you were sitting there. Unless you were literally just sitting there and watching.
No, I wasn't. I think I saw 2 seconds of it when I came in my room and then back out of it again. I needed to do something. It was an emergency. But the last thing that we did was we had to kill a group of people who were on top of a building, on a construction site building. They were on the first and second floors.
Yes.
and we were on the ground, so we just tried different ways. And they've introduced this new way of using grenades where you don't have to use the weapon wheel to select a grenade. If you're aiming, you just tap left on the D-pad and it'll throw whatever explosive you have
Yeah. So
selected on the weapon wheel.
which was great because I was able to use my default of trying to defeat the baddies, which is lobbing grenades.
So you started lobbing grenades and it costed you thousands to replace them all, and I was
It
firing
cost
rockets for no reason.
12,000. And I think at one point it cost 16,000.
Yeah, you still made money from it, and you don't really need that
I
much
made
money anymore.
11,000.
Yeah, but you don't need much money,
Cost
do you?
me 12.
What do you need the money for?
Outfits. We've been through this.
Oh yeah, right.
Clothes.
You just don't use grenades. I'll do it. I don't.
I'm
buy
thinking of
clothes,
changing.
I've got all my
I'm changing where I'm living in the game
clothes. Why?
for change of pace.
That's not how it works. Basically, nothing will change.
I want to
What
change the
I've-
furniture, and apparently I had to do that when I bought the thing.
It doesn't change the furniture either. Anyway, what you can do is what was I saying there?
I don't
right.
know what
So
were
we
you
stole-
saying.
We stole a van from them that had a truck thing that had a machine gun installed on the back.
Oh yeah.
And you took the machine gun and you were just trying to lay down suppressive fire so I could climb the ladder.
Yeah.
But then you took a couple of hits, so you got out the gun and went and hid. And of course,
Yeah.
you didn't tell me that. So I just pulled myself up the ladder and there's 4 guys just, oh, hello. It's like one of those old gangster scenes where they shoot the Don's son
Yeah.
86 times.
I think that's a bit
And
over dramatic.
It was like they had opened fire with an MG on a watermelon. And then I said, what happened to the covering fire? And you went, well, I was getting hit, so I went and took some cover. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. If you're given a role, you fulfill the role. If you can't, you tell us. But if you're going to die, or if the choice is do your job and die, or don't and live, you do your job and die. That's the point of being assigned a role, right? I didn't stop climbing the ladder. You needed to either tell me or you needed to do your job. And you just sort of ran away and went, yeah, I'm up here, by the way. And then you climbed the ladder yourself in a different building. It just hid on the first floor.
You're so mean to me, you know that? I didn't
You
run away.
left me to die.
I did not leave you to die.
I repeat.
Oh, I'm sorry, but if I had died, that would have stopped the entire game. So I had to go hide. But I think we were already down to 1 life or something.
No, I died and that took us down to no lives.
Well, then you're pathetic.
You were supposed to be covering me.
No, I wasn't.
Yes, you were.
No, I wasn't.
So what were you doing on the gun then?
Don't know.
Oh. Do you want to tell the boys and girls what happened there?
My phone fell over and Tommy
Yeah,
was on the phone.
You told a blatant lie and your phone just went, oh, and fell over.
Oh, I should have kept my old academy homework journal because I had a map in it.
Like, can we stop? Because I don't know how much attention you're actually paying to anything
I am
you're
paying
saying.
attention. I am paying
You need
attention.
to turn the phone slightly to you.
Well, because it was going to fall over again, so I had to No, it's going to fall over.
Well, you need to do something because I
There we
can't
go.
see you. Right, there we go.
You can see my
Right.
fat face.
So we'll move on to what I've been playing, right?
But there's something else happen in GTA, and I was going to talk about it. I can't remember.
I'll give you a minute to try and think about it.
You talk, and if I remember, I'll interrupt you. As
Well-
per.
Okay. What do you want me to talk about?
What you've been playing.
I finished 3 games recently.
I thought you finished more than that. I'm not going to lie. From what it felt like you had finished about 17 games.
Right, on to the news.
Sorry.
Finished 3 games. Only 3.
What have
I've
you been
been
doing
playing the
this
same
week?
game for 6 months. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Do you
I
want to
haven't
play
finished
Halo
it.
this evening?
I've played 12 missions in the main campaign, and then I've done online stuff.
I honestly can't remember what the main mission is anymore. Like the main
That's
story.
that's absolutely fine, Hen, because
I remember the characters are Franklin, Trevor, and Michael, and that's it.
it's Franklin, Trevor, and Michael.
And Trevor.
There's a Tanya in it. She's an interesting character. We need to decide when we do play that game. We need to decide what the rules are, because there's obviously going to be murder and swearing and
Loads of
excessively
terrible
adult
stuff.
content. What?
Loads of. I think you have to like blur it out.
No, you don't. My point is that
No, you have to.
you blur out nudity. You don't have to blur out anything else.
I don't know. I don't know what the guidelines are anymore.
We just won't go anywhere near any nudity, because I think the nudity is limited to the strip club. So as long as we don't go in there, we should be fine.
That's your Saturday's afternoon ruin then.
Oh yeah, it's my Saturday's afternoon ruined, isn't it? You're complaining.
I'm still trying to think. I'm still trying to remember what it was I was going to talk about.
I had to kill a prostitute because she witnessed me commit a crime, so I couldn't leave the witness alive.
I can't remember that happening in the game.
Because
Tommy just motioned me to be silent. That wasn't creepy.
that didn't happen in the game.
Were you aware
you
did that?
You got out of my car, and I was tooting at you for a laugh, and then this prostitute got in the seat, and I had driven off. All I heard was, "Take me somewhere secluded, honey." And,
Did you not realize I wasn't in the car?
No, because you were getting in your car to go home.
Yeah.
And I was driving to mine, and all I heard was, "Take me somewhere secluded, honey." It was sort of like, you know that scene in the first Jurassic Park movie where Dennis Nedry gets back in his Jeep, and he turns and there's a dinosaur sitting in the seat next to him.
Ow. That's from the second one, I think.
Yeah, and he just goes, "Nice dinosaur." And so it was sort of like that. So I had just been driving away, and I smashed into a car and killed the driver, because that's what happens. They make it pretty realistic. If you have a high-speed collision and you're in an armored car, you kill the people you hit.
Yeah.
So when I stopped my car at one point, she got out and ran away, and I thought, she's a witness. So I got out and just accidental solicitation.
Sure.
I don't know why you said sure though. Like, what was I going to get out of it? It's a video game character. But it was funny.
Yeah.
Now if she just appeared in the seat next to me, and I'm, oh jeez. Have you remembered yet what you were saying?
No.
Okay, we'll move on. I've been so one of the games I completed was Battlefield 1. It's a first-person shooter developed by EA. It was DICE who made it.
How old is Battlefield 1?
2016.
Feels like longer than that.
Yeah, well, it was 2016. It's set in World War One.
Yeah.
I think they take it. There's very little actual trench warfare, so I think they take it, or even when it comes to it.
I don't know. There was trench warfare. There was.
But it's limited compared with what you would expect, considering what you learn at school.
I honestly can't remember what I learned at school, to be perfectly honest.
And yet you think you know where the library is.
I was there! For 6
You were
years.
at the school for 6 years. You can't remember
I
anything
was
you were
in
taught.
the library for 6 years during every break.
No, 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 no. You weren't at school, were you? You were just at home. And they called it the library.
There was a library. There was
You're my
loads.
special library
How
assistant.
you must have been sent to the library at some point.
I was
You must
sent
have
to
you
library.
must have had to check because everybody had to go to the library at some point, especially when they had to do the pirates project.
Please at least say the library, not I'm going to library.
The library. Was saying the
I'm
library.
going to library.
Everybody was sent to the library to do the pirates project.
I was sent library.
Everybody had to do it. I had to do it. You must have had to do it. Do you not even remember the librarian? What are you laughing at?
It was something I was watching yesterday. It's an episode of South Park. And Cartman has Scott Malkinson and he's got Butters in front of a Senate judiciary hearing committee. And a Senate hearing, a Senate committee, a committee of the Senate, whatever. And he's talking. He says, "And now I will pass over to my colleague," something like that. He talks about because he's on a lectern reading a speech. Scott Malkinson, who has diabetes. And Scott Malkinson comes up and he starts reading from the script. He says, "I'm Scott Malkinson and I have diabetes." And then Cartman leans into him and whispers, "Terminal diabetes." He says, "I'm Scott Malkinson and I have terminal diabetes."
What does that have to do with what we were talking about?
No, as soon as you went, I was sent to library. I just immediately got reminded of it.
Everybody was sent to the library. Anything you had to do with computers, you had to do your studying in the library. How do you not remember the library?
Fire boiled.
Are you just confused on what class? Are you just thinking the library was on the second floor? There was a room. There was a room on the second floor that had glass around it, but that was the room that had like the television in it. That's not the library. The library was downstairs. You go through the front door. If you went through the front door, you took to the right. You went down the foreign languages corridor. You passed the stairs on the left. You keep going down that corridor as if you were heading to the PE department. And it was on the left. How do you not remember?
Fire boiled.
What are you saying? Is this an in-joke reference? Is this an in-joke reference between you and your mates about fireboys or fireboiled, whatever that is?
I think my brother might get it.
Right, his brother. I'm not allowed to say your name. What is he talking about?
Right.
Do you actually... brother, his brother, as I can't say his name. Do you remember the library?
It's a lie. Right, Battlefield 1. It's set in World War One. It's published by EA in 2016. And that is all I have to say about it. Thank you. Good day.
Because I got Battlefield 1 free with my Xbox when I bought it.
Yeah, you did, and you said you got all the way up to the
Aussie bit. The Australian soldiers.
It was called The Runner, and it
Yes.
was set in...
Australia.
No, it wasn't set in Australia. It was set in
It had
Turkey.
Australians.
It wasn't set in the Galapagos, but it was set in something sounds the same.
And I never got past that point.
Yeah. There's very few missions. I think there's a grand total of 16 actual missions if you exclude the tutorial in the end video. But those missions are quite short. I completed the game on the hardest difficulty in like a total of 6 hours max. There were points that were very difficult, but they felt more tedious than actually difficult. And there were points where I was literally just running out in the open, just spraying things with my machine gun. I found that some of the weapons were brilliant, some of the others were a bit naff, but my issue was that the ammunition was extremely difficult because they had like what was it called? It was like called the LG low weight and the LG major or something like that. They were the exact same gun skins. They looked identical to each other.
Yeah.
And they had the exact same loading magazine,
Yeah.
but you couldn't take the ammo from them, so you had
Yeah.
to swap your gun. It was just, it was really weird. They basically had armies of soldiers that were all using different guns. It was really strange.
The thing that I think that we kind of both agreed on was that the stories were too short. As soon
The
as
stories
just
were too short, or there weren't enough of them.
as you were getting into somebody's backstory, it would cut away to another character or somewhere else, and then you're in a completely different situation.
Yeah,
And
I think,
also
yeah,
the tank driving, the tank
tank
story was
driving was,
just,
it just didn't feel right to me. It felt weird.
it was so
Um,
bizarre.
yeah, and I would have to say, personally, I'd think that putting it at the very, very beginning is silly, because once you're kicked out of it at any point to run around on foot, which you could do, you just genuinely felt like you didn't know what to do, because you
Yeah.
hadn't had that much experience of being on foot yet.
Yeah.
And then the next set of missions was the aircraft guy, and that made more sense because you'd done a couple of missions on foot by that point. So anytime you were not in air, you knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
I think one of the things I didn't like was the stealth. It felt forced. There was a couple of mechanics in there that were stealth related, but on the whole, it didn't feel quite right.
I just didn't enjoy it. Like, full stop, I just did not
No,
enjoy the game.
but I've got
I'm still not
video
enjoying it.
recordings of me shooting people. The reticle, it's right on the center of mass, and the bullets are passing straight through. Um, I've always believed that the main campaign is what legitimizes games based on real wars. You have to tell a story, otherwise you're just profiting off of warfare and the deaths of millions. And this game for me really felt like the first time for Battlefield that I've played a Battlefield game and genuinely thought that it was just cashing in
Yeah.
on the legacy of World War One, which is a shame because it's one of the few games set during World War One, and I thought I learned a little bit from it, and I thought it was really had the potential to be really eye opening, but they just so focused. It was clearly focused on the multiplayer. I mean, one of the things is the difficulty. Like, doing it in 6 hours is not acceptable on the hardest difficulty. It's just not, and I personally think that the issue for me here was that, like, if you look at the achievements, for example, it's like 40 gamer score for completing the game in the hardest difficulty. There's achievements worth double that for doing multiplayer stuff. The vast majority of achievements are set in the multiplayer game.
What
The
multiplayer
story
stuff
only
can you
takes
do?
6 hours to play, whereas the multiplayer has like 60 different variants.
What is the multiplayer for Battlefield 1?
It's just competitive multiplayer, I believe, like capture the flag, team deathmatch, that sort of thing. There's loads of
Okay.
different variants, but it's all in the same shoot the other guy.
Yeah.
And I also felt like it was a bit like they had captured the spirit of World War One. Like, World War Two's spirit is a bit different. It's an army fighting another army,
Yeah.
right? Whereas Battlefield One was empire on empire.
Mm.
So all the people that were rounded up to fight for the empire in the interests of the empire were just like potters and sculptors and poets and all the rest of it. So it dotting around their stories was actually quite interesting.
Yeah.
Because frankly, World War One didn't have a huge big. It was empires attempting to expand as they had done for centuries. It's just that they did it all at the same time, and this time they did it in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas World War Two has a sort of story narrative, whereas World War One is more a sort of like just throw a billion people into a hole and watch them all kill each other.
Yeah, I think
So
that.
the individual stories, it makes sense to focus on the individual stories and not the overall war.
Mm.
I think they missed out on it. I think the acting's good.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I thought that the acting was really good. Like, that's why I was annoyed at when you were getting invested into a character. It would automatically change after a little while.
I thought some of the gameplay mechanics were okay.
Yeah.
You can carry 2 gadgets, and you can carry a melee weapon to speed up melee kills, and you can carry 2 guns. I thought they were perfectly good.
I thought it was good at like introducing how you do stuff. From what I remember.
It gave you a tutorial where you were supposed to die, so that was pretty good.
Yeah.
I thought there was points in there where it showed real potential, and they just clearly the campaign was the second fiddle, and it shows because it
Yeah.
just feels it doesn't feel incomplete. It just feels like, do you know what it doesn't? You know what it feels like? It feels like there were people involved in writing the main campaign and creating it who
And they
said, right, this is
changed
what we're
it.
going to do, right?
Yeah.
No, this is what we're going to do to validate
Validate.
the game.
Yeah.
And then they went away and did something else, and the team who actually put it together tried really hard and made a couple of mistakes here and there,
Yeah.
but the team was too small, and the decisions about what was going to be in the game were already made,
Yeah.
so they couldn't actually make it better.
Do you know what I've just
So
sorry.
I was just going to say, I think the concept is flawed. I think the delivery is as good as possible. And I know that's weird considering I've said that I like the stories, but I think it's just the concept of like how quick they went, what they were going to talk about, what they were going to focus on, how much assets they were going to put into campaign management and development as opposed to multiplayer. I think that was all off.
Do you know what it's kind of reminded me of?
What?
Um, the way it kind of plays out. You know the movie Brave, the Disney movie, about set in
Okay.
Scotland.
Uh-huh.
Have you seen it?
Uh-huh.
You know how it feels like it's been written by a bunch of different people, but it's one thing. That's how I've always
Yeah.
felt about it. It kind of gives me the same feeling as Battlefield 1. Like,
There is a sort of
because that is what
odd
happened.
change in Brave, yeah,
Because
that
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 is
does
what
seem to
happened
happen.
in Brave. There were multiple
Yeah.
writers on it, and I think what happened was they had different endings. They all had different endings, and eventually had to come up with some sort of cohesive storyline. Because they changed writer a fair few times, I think. But that's the kind of vibe I get from this.
I'm not saying they changed writers, but I think you might be right in saying that they changed.
No, it's not even so much that they changed writers. I feel like there were multiple writers, and each given, right, you need to write this. You've got X amount of time, and you've got to
I'm not
write
saying
this.
that. I'm not. That's the thing. I'm not saying that using different writers to write different stories doesn't work. I think I agree with you though that they have X amount of time to write the story that they write, and I
Yeah,
think that's it. They decided arbitrarily we're going to give you X amount of whatever to do the campaign, instead of the campaign gets what it needs and X amount goes to the multiplayer.
yeah,
And I know I would say there's everybody at home, like thousands of people right now are screaming at their YouTube monitors, their computer monitors. They probably are, just nothing to do with it, what we're saying because they're not listening to us. But anybody who hears this is saying, well, yeah, because that's where all the money is from like loot boxes and all that jazz. True. But that's why I think it's disrespectful, because this is a war game about World War One, where they've
yeah,
gone, let's tell the stories of the people. It's considered like the poet's war. They didn't do that. They turned around and basically just it was half a job.
I think there are benefits to having multiple stories because you're able to see what happened in a game which was set across the globe. Obviously, it was a world war. You can see what happened in different parts of the world. That is interesting. I think they should have dedicated more time to each point.
Yes. And they needed to tighten up a few of the mechanics, and they
Yeah.
needed to increase the enemy count at points. I mean, there was one point where it was like a massive enemy counterattack, and I had to kill like 20 guys. That's not a massive enemy counterattack.
I
That was
sup-
bigger in the original Call of Duty game from like, was it 2001?
I,
Like, this
sup-
is not
I suppose you can give it
2003.
slack. You can give it a slack because it was the first in the series of games. You get what
No,
I
it
mean?
wasn't.
Well, Battlefield.
Battlefield 1 was not.
The
It
first
was,
Battlefield.
no. Battlefield 1 is called Battlefield 1 because it's set in World War 1.
I think we've had this conversation before. Like, I
Yeah, I
get
think
confused.
it's catching in your head. Remember, Battlefield 1, the game that came out afterwards, was Battlefield 5.
Right.
So there's been other Battlefields before.
Okay.
That's why I said Battlefield 1 for me is the first time they made one that felt like a cashing in on a war, as opposed to. Because I've played Battlefield 3 and I thought the story in that was really good. and I've heard great things about Battlefield 4.
This confuses my brain.
But Battlefield Hardline, which was a game about
Brain
police
sleepy.
officers, was terrible. For me, they just didn't. Battlefield 1 is the 15th installment in the Battlefield series.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, there was one game that I liked, Battlefield 2142, that didn't have a main campaign. And I know that that might sound like I'm being, hypocritical. I'm saying that there's no campaign there, and the campaign is how you judge whether or not they're cashing in. But for me, the setting of the game was enough to warrant it.
Mm.
Because it was about the EU against the United Asian Confederacy, I think it was, because of resource wars, because we had, used up everything by 2142.
Yeah.
So, that setting's fine for me. But this was just a case of let's tell these stories about World War One really quickly so we can make the multiplayer. So I honestly wouldn't recommend playing it. Another game that I completed, I'll be very quick with the next two. Tomb Raider Underworld came out in 2008. I think it's the third one in a series of games. Tomb Raider, Lara Croft is voiced by Keely Hawes in this one, in these three.
Right.
The other two in it are Legacy and Anniversary. They form a story arc. So I played the last one and not the other two, but hey, it's the one that was handed out for free. I started it back in August. I had to stop because just got knocked out of playing games for a while in August. And I was just reading here. It's part of the Tomb Raider trilogy compilation, which included Legend and Anniversary. Legend, not Legacy, sorry.
I'm just seeing if that's the one I have. So I've got one of the Lara Croft games, but I can't remember which one it is.
The combat's pretty fun. It's quite forgiving in a way. I thought they made sense where when you're in a tomb, but when you're not in a tomb, there's health packs, and they make a difference between them so that you're not finding like a modern futuristic health like medical kit in an ancient tomb behind a door that's never been opened.
Oh, I remember playing those. I think they had that in one of the Lara, for the PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
I had a Lara Croft game, and I think that's... Oh my, I hated that game so much. Sorry, it's just flashback now.
Nam style. The climbing is pretty fun. It's a little loose because of modern standards. It's been 12, 13 years since it, well, say I started it in August, so it would have been 12 years since it came out. So it was a bit loose for me.
Yeah.
But that's totally understandable considering the age of the game. But the point of me talking about it just now is to tell you what it's like playing it now. It'll annoy you, but it's still fun to do.
Yeah.
Don't forget that you have a flashlight if you do play it, because I forgot that, and you are running around in pitch black, and I'm thinking this doesn't make sense until I tried all the buttons, threw a grenade off a wall, and then turned the light on. So it was all fine. But it's a bit silly in some ways, but it's fun silly.
Yeah,
it tries to give you as much freedom as possible, and it's just nice. It was just a really nice wee story. It was a really nice wee game. It's just nice. I don't know if that's being patronizing from the point of view that it's a nice wee game when it's supposed to be a proper release, but it had that feeling of I'll pop on Tomb Raider and just play a wee bit of that. Oh, that was nice. I enjoyed
because
that.
it's like it's a classic formula of a game? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's a classic formula that doesn't feel dated. It doesn't feel old.
That's what I mean by
Nice.
classic. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I suppose. Yeah, fair enough.
Because with the Tomb Raider game I played like years and years and years ago, it felt really good to play. It was just annoying because I could never get past a certain point, to the point where was it 2 years ago I had to look up a walkthrough for it, and I was able to get further with the walkthrough because these things were hidden in things you had to find were hidden in the most ridiculous, obscure places, and because of the limited technological ability of games and creating
rendering environments.
No, not even so everything kind of looked the same color.
Aye.
So it was very difficult to see if there was a hidden compartment somewhere.
Aye.
So you'd just breeze through it and you wouldn't realize that's where you had to go.
Huh.
But it was still fun to play because it felt like you were playing a classic game.
Yeah. Well, these don't look the same. Obviously, they look much better.
Yeah.
And there's also quite a bit of heightened focus on keeping her classic, but also classy. So she has the double pistols, but she also goes in with another weapon to try and make it a bit more realistic, that she wouldn't just be able to shoot everything with two pistols.
No, this one
She
just
has
had two
grenades,
pistols.
but her outfit, you pick an outfit at the start of the mission, and you can go for sort of like classy, slightly sexy, or you can go for slightly more logical.
Is it just like the classic Laura?
Lara. You're
Lara.
an American, you incorrectly would say Laura or something like
Lara.
that.
Lara
But it's
Croft.
Lara because she's English, so it's Lara.
Is it the classic Lara Croft outfit of tank top
It's a variant of that.
and
It's not quite as
shorts?
skimpy. It's not quite as skimpy. The shorts are actually shorts and not,
Short shorts.
pants. But and the bra she's wearing is a bit bigger than a bra. But the point is, it's I'd say it's respectable if that's what the women wears is what the women wears. But there is a slightly more logical, practical version as well that you can pick. So the game lets you pick between them.
Yeah.
There are points where she is slightly skimpy because she's like the very first mission in the game. I think you're in the Mediterranean Sea swimming.
Yeah, so you'll be in like a bathing suit or something like that.
No, it's not a full bathing suit, but it's like it's like a
wetsuit?
wetsuit, but it doesn't cover her legs. But that's it.
That makes no sense. I suppose,
How?
and I have seen wetsuits like that.
Yeah, that's quite common. There's even guys' variants where it stops just below the dangles. Um, so yeah, there's parts like that as well. There's because you're in tunnels and you're in swimming around in water in a few different missions. You're just like openly swimming about in the sea.
Mm.
You've got if you press the back button to go to like the interactive menus, there's a sonar map, so it shows you like the outline of the seabed and stuff like that in the tunnels you're in. You also have underwater weapons for killing sharks that come and try and kill you, and you do the whole lock-on shoot A to dodge thing.
Why would you
do on
try
land.
and like? That's the thing I don't understand. Why would you try and shoot a shark? Because if there's one, there's going to be more, and they can smell blood from like.
Yeah, but it's a video game, so if you shoot the shark,
your logic is null and void. It is a video game.
if you shoot the shark, you can then swim to where you're going, and you're nice and safe. Yeah, I enjoyed. I enjoy my time with it. I don't think I'd play it again, but I enjoyed my time with it.
No, that's good.
There's points where I was like, "What? Why?" But most of the time, I was just having fun with it.
That's good. Sorry, Yod.
The last one I finished was Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Future Soldier. Yeah, I spoke about Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon. Was it Advanced Warfighter?
Advanced
Yes, it
Warfare?
was. It was Warfighter.
Warfighter.
Yeah, so it was Tom Clancy's GRAW 1 and 2. So Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter. This sort of leads on from that. And this one's called Future Soldier. So basically I think it's supposed to be set slightly. It was released in 2012, but I don't know when the plot year is, but I think it's slightly in the future of when it was released. So in the past now, probably. But the big difference is with this that it's a bit stealthy. But the reason that works quite well in the game is that you can do a couple of things. So you got some futuristic equipment, so you can chuck a sensor and it goes and it shows you where all the enemies are in that area.
Yeah.
Secondly, you have what they call magnetic vision, which is like an X-ray that lets you see where metal is. It might be metal vision or magnetic vision. So you can see guns, and you know that's a bad guy, it's a bad guy, it's a bad guy, it's a bad guy. So you can see quite far. And you can tag enemies up to 4 of them.
Yeah.
And you can do a synchronized shot. So your entire squad will take out all 4 enemies silently at once.
Yeah.
And if you do that well enough, you can take out entire areas before a fight breaks out. Because you can just sneak through them going pfft. And sometimes you'll have to sneak through areas rather than fight.
Yeah.
So you'll just get down on your belly and sneak through.
Sneak,
and
sneak,
sometimes
sneak,
you
sneak,
start a fight.
sneak.
And sometimes you can ambush, and there's no way to kill them without being seen. It will start a fight, but that allows you to take out 4 and then start the fight, which is advantageous.
Mm-hmm.
It also lets you pick what weapons you take in from a select list, and you can swap that weapon once you're there if you find that that weapon's useless. And you've got a drone as well that you can release.
Yeah.
I found that there was sets of weapons that I really liked to use, and I just liked to do that,
Cool.
and I enjoyed it.
Good.
But the big one that really makes it a bit more stealthy, and why you can apply a bit more tactical thought process to it, is the fact that if you crouch, your character becomes invisible, because they're in high-tech armor that if you move slowly becomes basically transparent.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so
It's like the more friction you have when you're close, the more visible you become.
well, I think it's less friction and more to do with the fact that the clothes can't keep up with the material, the terrain behind you moving too quickly.
Oh, okay.
But what's good about it is if you're not completely covered, for example, they've got a gap where their eyes are.
Yeah.
Their eyes are visible.
That would be
So
creepy as anything.
yeah, so if you lie down, you're basically invisible. But see, if you're crouched, if they're looking at you, they can kind of eventually work out that they're looking at a pair of floating eyes. So you have to make sure that you get out their line of sight. And if you're stood up, they can you're visible, so they can see you.
If I saw a pair of floating eyes, I would very likely run in the opposite direction, screaming the place down.
Yeah, but I think they've worked out that they're enemy combatants because they're soldiers, no, not civilians. But
Oh,
yeah.
I would do that even if even if I was a soldier. See floating eyes, I would scream and run.
Well, it's
in the
not a
other
pair
way.
of floating eyes. The skin around them is there. It's not just 2 floating eyes that they could see. But yeah, no, I'm trying to compare it to previous games where I think the previous games were a little bit harder. You died a lot more easily. In this one, you're a little bit more livable. So it goes a little bit more to the sort of shooter as opposed to tactical shooter. But personally, I think that it's a better balance. And it's got a more enjoyable storyline. I thought Graw 2 was a huge improvement on 1, and I thought that this was a huge improvement on that. It's just, it felt more fun to play, more immersive, and a little bit more forgiving, but still very difficult. There were still parts in that where it was really hard.
Yeah.
But the stealth option, adding the stealth option sort of added in a different tactical element, whereas in the previous, the Graw games, that wasn't there because you couldn't really stealth it properly unless you had a silenced sniper.
Mm.
So yeah, they took out I think like the vehicle stuff. Not that you couldn't. It wasn't to do with being in a vehicle in the previous games. It was that you had command of like other units sometimes.
I'll
So
command you.
sometimes depending upon the context and situation, you'd have a tank or a helicopter helping you or other soldiers, whereas in this it's just you because you're a special ops team rather than a sort of like advanced team.
Yeah.
But I really liked it. I thought the story was good.
I've got a blanket on. I'm very cold.
Okay, I highly recommend that. If that's ever on sale for a couple of pennies, I would get that. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Future Soldier.
Nice. So, did you want to move on to the stories now?
Yeah, some of these are pretty short, so we can just blast through them.
There is an issue with the Microsoft controllers, apparently.
Yes.
They basically, because you've talked about this before, you experience with your controller.
Yeah.
The drifting is that the correct phrase? The drifting.
Yes, basically, if I put my controller down, my character will eventually start to walk by themselves.
Yeah. Apparently, there's a massive lawsuit.
Yeah, because I had to replace mine. It became unusable. I couldn't get the character to stop moving forward unless I pulled back, which means if I ever had to turn around, I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
I
and
couldn't run backwards.
you're also having issues with this controller as well.
The new controller doesn't charge properly. I've always said this, PlayStation controls are better. They're just better. There was a lawsuit, I think it was in America, filed in April of 2020, alleging that drifting issues have been experienced by too many people across various models, and this is a design flaw that Microsoft had a duty to fix what's happened is Microsoft have been able to get the case pulled from court by compelling arbitration.
Which
And
means
so, well, I think it was a spokesman at the law firm that is suing them has said that it likely means the end of the road for the lawsuit because it's now never expected to enter a public court. But it's going to press ahead anyway because they've got a huge volume of faulty controllers.
that is not good that
Mm.
there's that many. I mean, touch wood, I've not had an issue with mine so far. I mean, there was like a weird issue where I didn't think it was charging, but it actually was, but it didn't show up on the thing that said it was charging.
Mm. Well, this is specifically to do with the potentiometer, and it's been the lawsuit claims that it's been present since 2014, and they've done nothing to fix it.
That is quite bad.
However, this company is also involved in the lawsuits with the Switch Joy-Con and the PlayStation 5 DualSense controller. But it's to do with the same issue, controller drift, but their lawsuits are slightly different because those are sort of like more recent developments. Because the
Yeah.
PlayStation 5's only recently come out, Switch is only a couple of years old, but the other one is 6 or 7 years of faulty controllers. It alleges 6 or 7 years of faulty controllers.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit different. But the fact it's been compelled to arbitration, because the DualSense lost, I think.
Interesting. I think that's quite underhanded that they've not actually started to fix anything since 2014 with the controllers.
Yeah, they just sell spare parts.
That's not on.
And I don't have a soldering equipment here, so I can't really replace parts of the board.
Would you even know how to?
Yes, I've looked it up. It's not too complicated if you have the equipment, but if you're not experienced with it and you don't have the equipment, you're just what's going to happen is you're going to
making it worse.
Yeah. So, well, not making it worse. The controllers are unusable when that happens, but you could be just basically it's potentially harmful to use a soldering gun. So you could just hurt yourself.
Suppose so, yeah.
Anyway, happier news. Just a quick heads up for this. Horizon Zero Dawn, one of the biggest titles to ever grace the PlayStation.
Why have you changed your accent?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You're not from that part of Scotland. Why are you talking like that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Now I don't know where you're from.
Hello, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Ciao bene, what are you talking about? Here, mate, come here. What are you talking about? Have you gone to sleep?
I'm falling asleep.
Yeah.
Because last night I fell asleep. And then I got a massive fright because I heard what I thought was my alarm going off. And then I was like, look at it's nighttime. I'm like, why have I set my alarm for nighttime? I was like, what is that noise? And it was you calling me.
So, well, because I needed to tell you something. Anyway, so Horizon Zero Dawn is free to download.
On what platform?
PlayStation 4 and 5. It's a PlayStation only game.
Then this means nothing to me, for I do not have a PlayStation 4
Yeah,
or
I'm not
5.
just talking to you. Depending
Well, sometimes
on where
I feel like you are.
Depending on where you are, you can claim this download either from the 19th or 20th of April, so you can buy now. And apparently it ends mid-May.
That's pretty decent.
Yeah. I think I will do that.
But you... Oh, wait, you have a PlayStation 4, don't...
Yes, I do. Another good piece of news. Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth is being remade in Unreal Engine 4.
I don't know what that means.
This has happened for a while. I just picked up on it recently because I saw a video on YouTube. The original game was released back in 2004.
Oh, is this the one that's being made by fans?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a fan-made mod skin or something like that. It's. I don't think it's.
It looks pretty epic.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Because I remember now, you sent me the trailer for it. It looks pretty epic.
Aye. So they made a sequel, Battle for Middle-earth 2, and that was good. I enjoyed that.
I enjoy many things, including that trailer.
Unfortunately, when the video game license went back to Warner Brothers in 2008, it basically meant the Battle for Middle-earth is in this whole nest of licenses that we don't know who actually has the right to make another sequel.
Yeah.
So that's why there's not been a third one. So as a result, these fans have spent a little while just basically remaking the game.
It is incredible.
Yeah. It's a brilliant game. It's one that we should play.
I will put that.
So,
I'll
yeah.
add that to the list.
Apparently, World of Warcraft is also being made in Unreal Engine 4. Wow, that looks good.
I never played World of Warcraft. I was
The
very
Lord of the Rings MMO, is it?
when I went to buy World of Warcraft many, many years ago. I really, really wanted to play it because everybody talked about it. And I got it on sale. It was only a tenner for like a big thing. And then I didn't realize you had to pay a subscription afterwards. I was devastated.
Yeah, it says it on the back of the box, which maybe doesn't help you, I suppose, but
No.
yeah.
They should put all that on the front of the box. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But I was
Like a
genuine.
huge big red thing that just says you must pay a subscription.
I was so sad. So sad. I never played it.
World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
I played a free trial somebody gave me. I played a few days of it. I had a female night elf druid called Tiger Chow. She was brilliant. Right, so this Lord of the Rings game isn't the MMO. It's somebody made a demo of what like Hobbiton would look like in the Unity 4 engine. Unity Engine 4. Unreal Engine, sorry. What is it? Hold on, let me think. Unreal Engine, yeah. So, hold on. This is just getting to me now because these. I'm just reading this. All these little bits underneath I hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
And there's one also. Ocarina of Time is being remade in Unreal Engine.
Seriously? Really?
Yeah. And now I'm looking to see if there's.
Because Ocarina of Time was like massive. Like that's
Yeah.
that's like one of the favorite games, is it not? I've seen people play it.
Yeah.
I watched the Game Grumps play it. I can't remember what happens, but I just remember they're playing it. Sorry, I keep yawning. It's gotten to that time of the day where Abigail starts to get very sleepy, and because I'm cold and wrapped up in a blanket, it's not really helping the situation.
I think it's just the world has been made by a couple of fans. I'm not sure if they put the game in because they might be in trouble if they did that, but it's interesting. We did know bad news that Amazon, was it Amazon who were making an MMO? They Lord of the Rings MMO, they cancelled it.
Well, Amazon, were they creating a console and then they decided not to do it? They launched something big and they decided to go against it. Like they decided to. Did Amazon not release some sort of game? I remember we talked about it a while back, and then they decided to take it off the platform or something.
Oh yeah, they did. Was it Crucible? Was it called?
Because they were creating their own console. It was called the Amazon Luna.
Aye.
Is the Luna still happening?
I don't know about that just now, but yes. Crucible got shut down and they paid refunds to anybody who bought the game. It's a complete disaster of a release.
Yeah.
Right, next story. So we were originally going to be talking about a story where Sony, there's a problem with PlayStation 3s, Vitas, and PSPs, which is when the battery runs out. I think this is especially true of PlayStation 3. There's a battery that controls the timing in the console.
Yeah.
And it has to contact
the server.
when you try to boot up a game, it contacts the server and gets the time. And
Yeah.
that then allows you to make sure the game's updated and play it. And if you can't contact the server or you don't have the time already in the console, it shuts down. It doesn't let you play the game.
Yeah.
I think you can still use any game that's previously been activated, but you can't actually do anything else.
Mm.
So if you put in a game you bought a wee while ago, there's a chance it won't play. Or if you put in a game you've not played for a wee while and there's been an update since, it won't play.
Which is just
It's a design
disaster.
flaw of the PlayStation. So they were originally going to shut those online shops down.
Yeah, for PS3 and for the Vita, is it?
And for PlayStation Portable, PSP.
Yeah.
But what they've done now is they have
They've reversed the decision.
They've made the wrong decision and they've overturned their decision because they realized that was just not going to work.
I think they've realized that since there was a lot of outcry from fans or owners of PS3 saying this is ridiculous.
Because it also says don't buy the PlayStation 4 in the future because they'll shut down support, or PlayStation 5 because they'll shut down support, or the PlayStation 6 if they make one because they've shut down the support.
Yeah.
Whereas if you look at Xbox, they're preserving their old games by making them backpat. So it doesn't really work.
I think that's such a... Like, I can kind of understand where it gets to a certain point, maybe. Like, it's so far in the future where it's so many consoles behind.
I'm still angry that nobody at Nintendo has remade Ocarina of Time. I know they remade it for a handheld version, but it's not the same.
But didn't you just say that they're remaking Ocarina of Time?
No. That was fans who made the world again. It's not the same thing.
Is Ocarina...
Because if they remade that game and re-released it, even if they didn't change anything in it, it'd be incredible.
What console was Ocarina of Time on?
Nintendo 64.
Was it not? Was it never released on anything else?
No.
So if you wanted to play Ocarina of Time, you'd have to buy a Nintendo 64 and also the game itself.
Yeah.
Do you have one?
No, my Nintendo broke. It's one of the few consoles that actually did break and had to go in the bin. And I never got a chance to finish it because of that.
That's annoying.
Yeah.
Wonder if I can get one secondhand somewhere.
No idea. Anyway. But yeah, that's a good piece of news that they're keeping those shops open.
Do you know what game I'd really like to finish? I never got to finish. Sabrina: A Twist in Time. On the PlayStation 1. Anyway. What are you upset about? What are you huffing and hawing over?
Just an update. Rockstar. Oh, pardon me. An update. Rockstar have issued surprise updates for L.A. Noire and Max Payne 3 on the PC, and they've also thrown in all the DLC for free.
Awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if that's specific to the. Oh, pardon me. I don't know if that's specific to the PC version or if there's. But we will play L.A. Noire at one point. So if playing it on the PC is easier and we get everything added in with it, then that would be great.
I think I need to reorganize my schedule because I think that I need to take more days off from working. So at the moment, my schedule looks just as crazy as it always has, and that shouldn't be the case.
Yeah, because you stopped uni now.
Yeah, I should have more free time.
Yeah. Last story?
Yes, the last story.
Go ahead.
KOTOR's being remade. I think that sounded a lot lackluster than I meant it to.
Try again.
KOTOR is being remade.
Try again. Come up.
KOTOR is being remade. Is that any better?
KOTOR is being remade.
Tommy is very happy. Look how happy he is.
Yeah, so Knights of the Republic remake is being developed by Aspyr, Aspyr, and that's kind of a good thing, and also
Why?
a different because they're a port studio. They're a studio that excels at porting games from one console type to another.
What else have they made?
So that's a bit worrisome from the point of view of, well, they've never done a remake or a remaster or anything like that. Maybe they've never done that before. Maybe they've just ported. So maybe this is new territory. So maybe we should be worried. However, I don't know actually if they've ever done a port that was a remaster, but I don't know if they've done a remake. Who knows? But if they're a port studio, you'd say that's limited. But it turns out that they have the good news to this is the fact that Aspyr were the studio that ported the KOTOR games previously. So they ported the KOTOR games to phone. So they're used to the KOTOR game codes.
Yeah. That is good news. That is actually
Yeah.
really that'll be good. So
But it's
they'll
also
have
good because
experience.
it means there's been a suggestion that the project is not being handled by EA or BioWare.
Oh, look how happy your face is. It's so smiley. It's so happy. Little rosy cheeks. You didn't have to do that to pinch your face.
So this is less of a port and it's more of a remake.
He's so happy.
A suggestion that the project will contain elements from both KOTOR games to bring certain things into the current Star Wars canon.
And now your face looks a little bit unhappy.
Yep, that's a bit strange.
Now you look confused.
I don't like that phrase, to bring certain things into the current canon. They made the previous KOTOR games non-canon, so if they're adapting them to make them canon, that's a bit scary. You know, there's really good news in there, but also a bit worrisome when it comes to bring certain things into canon. And it says the project will contain elements from both KOTOR games. So are they just remastering both in one big release, or are they adapting it to add things? Are they putting in the content that was originally removed before, and they're trying to put it back in? What's happening here? But it means I am interested to see it because remember, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, the previous two games still exist.
Yeah.
You can still play them and you can still enjoy them. You don't need these ones. So if they remake them and they're rubbish, great, I've still got the other two. If they make them and they're brilliant, great, I've now got 4. You know,
it's like,
if they make
a
KOTOR
win-win.
3 and if they make a KOTOR 3 and it's brilliant, excellent, I've got a third one. If they make a KOTOR 3 and it's terrible, I don't care, I've got 2 that are great already.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that for me is quite unique to Star Wars because I love Star Wars so much, but when Disney took the movies and ruined they ruined the original 6 by trying to fit in these rubbish 7, 8, and 9, you could let that ruin your enjoyment of everything, or you could just sit there and say, no, those first 6 are brilliant, and these 3 are absolute rubbish. They've got nothing to do with it.
They did make a stellar series with The Mandalorian.
And Rogue One was fantastic, but
you thought Rogue One was good? I didn't like it.
Yeah, Rogue One is just an amazingly good movie. It's just a really good movie.
I didn't really like it all that much.
I've actually found a correlation between people who tell me that 7 is very, very good and people who don't like Rogue One. And 7's rubbish. It's just a complete remake of 4.
We all know it's a remake of 4, but we still like it.
Yeah, but that's my point, it's rubbish. Whereas Rogue One is a sort of new story and it's done really, really well.
That's how I feel about The Mandalorian.
I was worried about the pacing at the beginning of that movie, but no, it's fine. I really like Rogue One.
It was sad.
But I hate 8 and 9.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with that.
Right, do you know the hyperspace suicide jump in 8?
I'd have to rewatch it.
Doesn't make sense. It completely defies everything we know about the physics in Star Wars.
I hated the ending of the entire thing. Like the ending of 9, I think it's literally one of the worst endings.
But if you can just suicide jump a small ship into a big ship, right?
Yeah.
Why don't the Rebel Alliance just take one of their transports and hyperspace jump it under droid control into the Death Star?
Now you've ruined everything for me.
Exactly. That's why you can't count 7, 8, and 9 as canon. Like I know that Disney, well, we own the rights, we decide what's canon. No, I have. That's not canon. Go away. And there's nothing they can do to make me. They can't force me to consider it canon.
I just like I never understood the hatred with episodes 1, 2, and 3. I've never
Nah.
understood the hatred because I think that people who hate those movies hate the fact that was it Hayden Christensen was in it, and then if you watch both sets of movies, he's pretty much just doing the exact same thing Luke did. They're both
He's he's
whiny
he's
teenagers.
he's playing Anakin Skywalker perfectly.
Yeah,
People are just annoyed because they haven't figured it out.
yeah,
Like you know when he says the sand gets everywhere and it's so clumsy, that's because the character has no social skills. But
yeah,
he plays it so well, it looks like he doesn't know what he's doing.
yeah.
It's
Because
an
he's a good
amazing
actor.
performance.
He's a
Yeah.
good actor, and I felt like that those films did him such disservice.
No, I don't think the films did. I think that he got a slightly curious direction, but I think that it's actually accurate.
I
I think
also
that
I also hated the fact that they made Yoda CG. He should have been a pup. They should have stayed with the um
the problem would be
Hensons.
the
They
the
should have stayed with
problem that you would
Henson.
have is that as soon as he starts fighting, which he needs to do, you then have a problem where the CGI and the puppet don't make sense. You can see when it goes from one to the other.
I've seen they've been able to have puppets fight and things like that because they had it in the Dark Crystal, like the television series, and they handled that very well, in my opinion. But I can see your point. But I think that I just don't understand why people hate those movies so much because they are enjoyable. Don't get me wrong. I think that there are some very big mistakes.
The biggest has to be the dialogue. Like somebody needed to take George Lucas and sit him down and say, "Mate, this isn't how it works."
But also the midichlorians. There
The
was no point to
midichlorians,
that.
he put the midichlorians in because he wanted it to be science fiction, not science magic.
I know, but it just made. I thought it was just
Yeah,
stupid. I thought that
yeah,
was utterly stupid.
yeah.
But I, I'm also not the. I'm not the biggest Natalie Portman fan. I'm not gonna lie. Um, I'm just not. I thought she played it very well. I'm just not her. I'm not her biggest fan.
I think they underused Liam Neeson
Oh God,
because
yeah.
he had they just didn't give him the words basically. The dialogue for him was too poor.
I think that the person who came out of those films better off than anybody else was either Samuel L. Jackson or Ewan McGregor. They came out of those films incredibly well. Like their
Yeah.
characters were awesome. That's what I mean. And also the guy playing the Emperor.
Ian McDiarmid.
Yes, mainly because he plays the Emperor in every single movie. I love that. I didn't know that until like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
That it was him in the original series as well.
Yeah,
That's
he's
what I love
acting like
about
an
that.
85-year-old man and he's about 32.
He's a phenomenal. Is he still with us, or did he?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a phenomenal actor.
Well, he's not that old, I don't think.
He will
I
be
think
now.
he's late 60s or 70s. 76.
Yeah. They underused Leia in the new series, in the 789.
The difficulty was that with
Well, obviously,
that.
I mean, they had to because Carrie Fisher passed away.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, I also don't think she was particularly good at points. Apparently, they had to cut large scenes that they filmed for 7 because they just couldn't get it to work.
But that might have been a writing thing.
I have to say, from her. I'm trying not to be cruel here, but if memory serves, did she not have a couple of substance issues?
Yeah,
Is that not?
no. Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
She did. Like,
And
she's very open about that.
I think you could
She
see
was.
that in her performances in the later ones. I
No,
think
she was
she got
recovered.
much better for me in some of her scenes in 8 and 9. but in 7 it was like she was warming up.
Yeah.
And I think some of the scenes they shot earlier on in the movie, or maybe later if she was tired, just didn't come together, so they couldn't use them. Like, for example, that planet that gets blown up, and the woman comes running out and fights her way to the front of the crowd and looks up into the sky. Apparently, there's a huge scene between her and Leia at the beginning of the movie that explains the backdrop to everything, and they just couldn't get the scene to work, so they had to cut it, which is why we don't understand anything that's happening.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's not. If we keep talking about the Star Wars movies, we're just gonna keep talking about the Star Wars movies because there's a lot to talk about. And you need to watch The Mandalorian.
He's from Carnoustie.
I don't know where that is.
Which is just outside Dundee.
Okay, I know where Dundee is.
East northeast or east northeast of.
Yeah. So KOTOR is being remade.
Yes, and I am most pleased.
Doth thou have anything else to discuss today?
No.
Then, if you liked what you heard and you'd like to hear more, you can always subscribe to the channel. You can hit the like button. That would be great. That really helps with the YouTube algorithm. You can leave a comment down below. That'd be fantastic. You can hit the share button. You can email us at overshadow.shadowcast@gmail.com, or you can also find us on Facebook at overshadow.shadowcast. All that information will be left in the description box down below.
Yes, if you could also leave a comment telling,
I already said that.
Leaving a comment telling Abigail that the library is a lie.
No, you tell him that where it was and that I am saying it's in the right location.
Library is a lie.
You're a lie. Your entire being is a lie. You are my imaginary friend. You do not exist. It's a voice I throw. It's a voice I put on.
Go ahead.
I just did. Thank you guys for listening. Hoping you enjoyed, and we'll see you next week. Farewell.